Welcome. You are now tuned into the Textually Active podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Textually Active, your weekly dose of conversations about navigating the digital age while dealing with friendships, relationships, and all the ships in between. I'm Rez and I got Meezy with me.
I'll beat your ass.
And he is on the boards.
Hey, I'll beat your ass.
Hey, is everything okay? You guys doing all right?
Nah, bro, ass need to be beat.
Why?
Cause, bro, I just thought that was the move.
Okay. Just whooping ass for no reason?
Boost the ass.
Okay.
While getting Jadakiss drunk.
Okay. All right.
I was trying to do something in addition, I couldn't find it.
If Jadakiss is in a mood, I don't know what is.
I don't understand.
He did like the Mary J. Blige. Or no, that was Little Kim when she did the airplane. I guess it's a New York thing when you just put your arms out and move to the side.
My favorite part
I want
was...
to be from New York so bad.
Do I? Or am I excited to be from Delaware?
Yeah, she's pretty Delaware proud, bro.
She always talking about New Yorkers.
No, I'm Delaware happy.
Okay.
Is there a problem, guys?
I think he wants me to be from New York. I don't know. I don't know why that was
Oh, no. What borough would you be from if you was from New York?
Is there a bear, New York? Didn't think so. How you guys feeling today?
Good.
Not as corny as that. I'm here, bro. I just woke up. Didn't wash my ass. Straight out the bed to the lab. You know how it go.
I know how you do it. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
You know what I'm saying?
How you feeling, E?
I'm good. I'm really good. Busy as hell, but ready to go.
I had to come up today.
You out here still hitting lit?
No, I'm not putting a whole T on it, but don't you love it when you don't go to self checkout and you still get the self checkout discounts? That little move when you put it underneath your cart and it actually work?
Nah, I just steal it.
Okay.
Just open it up in the store and then pay. Then just don't pay for it. You already know.
Yeah, I know.
You already know. I ate a whole spicy chicken sandwich at Walmart the other day.
You know, I was having this conversation with somebody today after I told them about my come up. I was like, it's not so much stealing because you don't have it. It's stealing so that you can save. Stealing is a way to continue to keep the wealth within your family.
What kind of hood ass Robin Hood are you?
What do you mean?
You stealing to make sure your family is straight.
To make sure you still have the money in the account. It's not that you don't have it. You just wanted to kind of use it for something else. Make it last a little longer.
Oh, what? Food?
What do you tell yourself when you get something for free?
I hit a lick.
Okay. Do you say anything to make yourself feel better? Like, this is for all the shit my ancestors went through. This is for the tray.
Oh, you're one of those. Where's your kente cloth?
Oh. Who?
Are your eyes going to start glowing red? Like,
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you Hotep?
Because sometimes I'll just be like, when God gives me a blessing, who am I to say no? Who am I to say no? Like, why would I send that back? So.
How often do you get these blessings?
Not very often. Sometimes.
Yeah, how much cash you got in your wallet? Because you might want to check and make sure it's still there, fam.
You see, remember when we were walking to the building, my wallet fell out.
That was Rez using their brain power like
Right.
Professor X.
Right.
Trying to make sure I get my ends.
Yeah, I thought you were supposed to scam people you're not trying to marry, but it's cool.
Okay.
City girl, what did the city girls teach you?
I mean, yo, you got the bangles on.
If his ass a rich nigga, better fuck him till he ain't.
I ain't gonna take you that long for me.
Turn into a scammer.
I missed it.
You know my favorite line? Pussy pink, breast cancer.
That is...
Just kidding.
Probably.
That was terrible. That was a terrible line. Anyway, so speaking of problematic and terrible.
That would not disrespect the queens.
Who?
The city girls.
Young Miami.
Jerisha,
Miss I don't like
Carisha,
that.
and Jatavia will not be disrespected on this platform.
I don't like that. So, we're off to a good start today. I brought you guys here to talk about something that is a hot topic in the streets, especially during this time with COVID-19. There's been a lot of stuff going around with people saying if you're not using this time to better yourself, then you're doing it wrong. If you're not at home working on a craft, you're doing it wrong. If you don't have 2 hustles, you're doing it wrong. So this week, I'd like to talk about entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So, what does it mean to be an entrepreneur? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I probably want to swing this to you as the
Resident entrepreneur.
the resident entrepreneur in the room, the entrepreneurial correspondent.
Right. Okay. Coming to you live from the Open Media Lab.
Flex.
Basically, the definition is basically a person who takes on abnormal risk for a capital gain.
Okay.
Basically, like that's in my own words. Right, so you're basically willing to take a risk that basically most people would not do in order to essentially hit a lick.
Hit a lick. Okay. I think it's anything that has to do with doing something on your own and building something, creating it from the ground up on your own and making money from it and just treating it like a business. You are essentially the CEO of whatever you created. That's what I think an entrepreneur is.
I just thought it was just motherfuckers that work for themselves, bro.
Basically.
I mean, it has a wide, like, thing for me, I guess. It's like a whole, like, it's all different types of entrepreneurs. So, I don't know. But I'm excited to delve into this topic because I have some opinions.
It's definitely a wide range of what an entrepreneur is because technically, I feel like we could be classified as entrepreneurs because we have this podcast, which is technically a business, which is something that we do on the side outside of the job that I don't have, but the job that you have.
It's a service.
And yes, it's a service. So we kind of work on this together. And I think that would classify as an entrepreneurship journey.
I thought niggas had to make money.
No, because most people who start a business, they probably are in the red probably for the first couple of years, to be honest.
Yeah. So, Cash App, easy.
So, I mean, technically, yes. I mean, if you guys never did, what's it called? R&B 143, throw the plug. Technically, this would still be a hobby, right? Because you guys never really necessarily made money off of this.
Also, we party promoters, too. My fake resume looks way better than my actual resume. Party promoter, media personality. I dabble in Photoshop now, so I might be a graphic designer.
Why would you call it fake resume?
Because I don't actually do none of that shit. I just
for a living, basically.
Yeah, like I just figured out how to do some shit and made it. I'm a cultural curator. You know what I'm saying?
That might be made up. Cultural correct. I'm not saying no. I'm not.
That's fucked up.
No, time out.
I create the vibes, bro.
No, time.
Don't yes Jules me.
Okay, yes. You'll say definitely the yes Jules vibe. Oh. No, the thing is, I'm not saying the fact that you don't do that. I'm just saying the fact of what you call it. That fills me. That's just like, all right. Let me I am like the curator of the vibes. Like right. It's like, really, all right.
Damn, bro.
So you're a host, basically.
No, bro.
A vibe
host. Do not do what I do. I said the ambiance. I make people feel good. Hosts just get to, take credit for shit that they ain't really probably didn't do.
Okay. Okay. Talk
You know what I'm saying? I manage. You know what I'm saying? I make jewelry on the side. I mean, I designed jewelry. I didn't make it, but I designed it.
You designed it.
Fire.
You do a lot. You have a lot of skills. I wouldn't call it something that you don't put on your resume. I think we got so accustomed to when we create our resume, doing it to work for somebody else's business in a field that we don't necessarily want to work on, especially me coming from working jobs for the past 2-3 years that really, it was just something to do so I could get through school. So creating a resume with all of the talent that you actually have to put towards your own business is like real stuff. Like everything that you just listed is a skill that you have. And even though you may not do it as well as somebody who went to school for it or has been doing it for 20 years, you still have that experience and you're able to execute it.
Right.
And I feel like when you're working for yourself, it gives you a little bit more of a drive because if you don't do it, it won't get done.
So do that mean I could apply for a social media media manager? Because I've been running my page for like 10 years, bro.
Actually, good, yeah.
So I mean,
that's experience.
So funny thing is, I was a business marketing major in undergrad,
Flex.
and basically the marketing professor who's like leading that whole department basically said, hey, Facebook is just out. This thing called Instagram is coming up. It was like literally all you have to do is whenever these new platforms come out, sign up for an account, create, put your picture in and all that stuff, create a profile, and then you can put on your resume that you are proficient in social media.
Oh no, I'm out here then. I got tons of experience.
But the thing is, but to kind of go back to when you were saying the whole fake resume thing, I just think it necessarily, not to say fake resume, but it's just more about what skills are necessary for the job that you have. You know what I'm saying? Because if you applied for something that was dealing with marketing, like you might not say your current job that you're at. You might put it there just to show that you weren't just doing nothing for the last couple of years. But the fact that all of the the curating things, like all these things, like the cultural commentating and stuff like that, like those are things that are just relevant for the time, relevant for that position.
That's hard.
And I always kind of push people like you gotta build up that tool belt of like of transferable skills that you have, right? Those things that you might learn while trying to do an event like R&B 143, and how you can use that to your advantage to say, hey, I know how to do this.
That's what's up, bro. I be trying to figure out a way to get rid of the term creative, though.
Creative does seem like it's been used a lot within the past few years.
I feel like it's expanded, though, because I feel like in the past, it was literally someone who essentially drew, who wrote, who did like creative writing, who, what I'm saying? Like you literally just kind of like took something from nothing, out of your head and you put it on paper. But now it's kind of like if you are innovating anything, they kind of consider you a creative. Like,
which is disrespectful.
I don't draw, I don't do any of this stuff, but I'm considered a creative, and it blows my mind.
I don't like it. It's kind of disrespectful to the people who do it. Like, just because I came up with a good idea and it worked out, I don't really think it's like creative of me. Just
but
I feel like you can be creative.
Yeah, an idea is something that you create from your brain. Just because it's not something that you actually draw or paint or take pictures of, it's still like a thought that you had, an idea that somebody else didn't have that you were able to execute. So how do you guys feel about the pressure that comes with society telling us as Black people that we need to have some type of side hustle? Do you feel pressure to do those things? Where do you stand in the argument against 9-to-5ers and entrepreneurs? Because recently we've heard B. Simone say things about not wanting to date men who aren't entrepreneurs, or saying that if you're an entrepreneur, you should date an entrepreneur, and her whole spill about what it means to be an entrepreneur and compared to working a 9-to-5, because apparently people who work a 9-to-5 don't get paid.
She was just using entrepreneur as a synonym, bro. She wanted to say drug dealer.
Okay.
Rapper.
That's how you feel?
Drug dealer.
That's she was going?
Like,
basically someone
who don't have to clock in. Like, that's it.
Right. Basically, like, if she asked for it, it's there.
Yeah, like,
basically.
Nigga,
so she didn't want to sound like a city girl when she said,
see what I'm saying? Like, an entrepreneur.
I want a drug dealer. She wanted to say, I want an entrepreneur.
Like,
basically,
don't wake me up.
Basically, she wanted fast money.
Who the fuck's up at 3 a.m. asking why the other person is up? Like, I don't care. You better keep fucking punching holes in that paper and leave me the fuck alone so I go back to sleep.
Right. So I have like a weird type of piece about that. Like, I've never really bought into the narrative of like this whole 9-to-5er versus entrepreneur thing. I feel like most of the people who do say like, yo, like, why are you working a 9-to-5? Like, most likely they ain't probably making anything. They probably ain't making no money.
It's all cap.
Right. And it's literally just like it has something to probably do with something like, hey, you notice most of those people who do that, a lot of them and maybe in some type of MLM type of situation.
What's MLM?
So multi-level marketing. Mm-hmm. All right. And it's not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but don't try to guilt somebody into pushing them into like to sign up for something to put you on, so that they can be under you so you can move yourself up.
Oh, got you. Like a pyramid scheme.
You said that, not me.
Okay.
I think there's a few MLMs out there that I think are pretty good. They're just not for me because that like it requires a certain level of
dedication, salesmanship,
and, right? That I'm just not willing to do.
Riz, are you interested in making $1,000?
Not today. Maybe next time.
The funny thing is, remember Wake Up Now, right? I almost found I almost hit my lick off of that, because basically, the whole thing was like you sign somebody up, da da da. I'm like, so what happens if I just took the money to sign somebody else up and I just paid for it for like my friends, right? And then I just made my money back. But then like on top of that, what I realized is that they had they were selling their stock, like they had basically had penny stocks, and I found it at like 12 cents a stock. And I was like, all right, if I put in $500, like, and it at one point it hit $10 a share. I mean, we probably wouldn't be in North Carolina, to be honest.
Damn, bro.
But it was just like, but I was scared. I was a punk.
You didn't take the risk.
I didn't take the risk.
You didn't take the risk to get
The
started.
risk.
Nigga, your ass would have been in jail like Bernie Madoff.
Yeah. My stance on the whole entrepreneurship versus 9 to 5 is that it's a guilt trip, like you said, E. It makes people feel bad for not doing something that ultimately is a risk. Like some people enjoy the security of being able to go to work, clock in, know exactly what they have to do, be told what their duties are, and have a stable paycheck coming to them every month or every other week or every week, whatever it is. And they just enjoy that stability. And working a 9 to 5 isn't as bad as people make it seem. Like, I do agree that the days like Monday through Friday, you don't gotta go to work all them days. Like you could at least go to work 3 days and have the other ones off. So I think entrepreneurship has been painted to be like this easy thing where you wake up every day, you do whatever you want. You call out when you feel like it. You just got mad money to blow. You're the friend who is able to pay for everybody's drinks when you go out because you're an entrepreneur. You work for yourself.
Who's getting all this money?
That's the illusion.
Who's getting all this money?
That's the illusion.
What are you doing?
Who's getting all
What
this
am
money?
I doing wrong?
That's the illusion that people paint for entrepreneurs. So when you see that and then you have somebody that's going to work or saying, oh, I got to be to work tomorrow. I can't stay up until 12 a.m., 3 a.m. with you guys. I got to go to work. And then you see the entrepreneur staying up until 3 a.m. what looks like they're hanging out when they're actually like talking business because that's the hours that they can do it with some people who do work. So I think it's just a mix up between what entrepreneurship is. Dating E and watching him go from working a 9 to 5 and like doing those two things at the same time, being an entrepreneur and working a 9 to 5 to taking that leap. I understand that it's a lot more behind the scenes. And I've seen people come to him and say, well, you work for yourself. Like, isn't it a holiday? No, actually, I have to keep working through this holiday. Right. So it's just two different sides to it.
Nobody ever like tells the truth, bro. Like
I'm all here for it, bro.
Yeah,
like if y'all have questions about it, please.
The wild shit be like, bro, if nobody went to a 9 to 5, all the shit you need to keep your business going, nobody would make. Like nobody would make this
if
shit.
If you think about it, I could just ask y'all, like, since October, since I've been doing this full time, like, would you say that you've seen me more or less since then?
I see you every day, so
that don't really count for you. And then I was about to say,
I mean, let's say in a social setting, like where I'm just like, I'm just able to just kick it, and I'm just like, let's just do this, or I'm.
I've actually, social
pre-corona.
Well, I only seen you, pre-corona, but I only see you in a work form. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the social always happens after the work.
That's
so,
fair.
like, once you clock out is when I would see you socially. But I've seen you more like work related because we did the whole law thing, and then we started.
You can see the if you're looking on the YouTube, you can see behind me.
Fire still up here.
Yeah, the people are asking for the law, but
yeah, it's cool.
That's another story.
Yeah, bro, that's social commentary. I ain't really feel it.
All right, it's cool. But
it's like like I see you. Yeah, like look, he loves it. But I see you like more doing shit, and I see you every time I see you. I commend you because you like do shit that you just randomly picked up, I guess. Well, not randomly, but you like took the time to pick up. Like,
right.
You can edit shit and videos and whatnot, whatever it is that needs to be done. You didn't have to pay nobody. You just learn how to do the shit.
Right.
Which is a very commendable thing. And I think the part about entrepreneurship that people try to leave out, it's a lot of failing that goes through there. Like, it's a lot of trial and error. Like, nigga, you don't just wake up one day and say, I'm about to start selling T-shirts, and then the T-shirts just appear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta, and the money comes from where, nigga? You were at a 9 to 5. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or it's still supplying your urge to do some shit. So I think it's just this weird false of, like, it always gives off, like, being an entrepreneur is better than a 9 to 5, which is cap.
So what I could definitely say is that Corona has exposed a lot of false realities, right? And one of the main things is that what I've kind of come to the realization over the last couple of months is that, like, the reason why in the beginning when you asked me what an entrepreneur was like a person who was willing to take the risk, right? That's just saying that, like, you can take risk with having a 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, in terms of just the monetary value, like, basically you don't eat if you don't kill.
Ooh.
Right? And basically that's where the main difference in entrepreneurship is, right? And the thing is, like, technically, like, I call myself employee number one of my business, right? Because most people, like my business is not me. I'm not in the business of selling me myself. I have a service that I am essentially,
selling you probably would have been a little bit more lucrative.
That's fair.
Mr. I mean, them OnlyFans accounts is
OnlyPods.
That's what I was about to say, because I was about to say COVID did teach me that some chicks out here was willing to work harder, not smarter. Like, they got all these boutiques selling lashes, doing all of these nails.
Gloss.
You could have just got OnlyFans and hit that come up. I feel like it's way easier to promote an OnlyFans than it is a lipstick, a lip gloss line.
I'm not slut shaming, but have you seen some girls in the beginning of the quarantine and said, I know she about to jump on that OnlyFans. As soon as she put that link up, I'm there.
All these twerk videos, but all
these
these twerk shits, and y'all ain't got no OnlyFans. I'm disgusted.
Nah, I've seen them at the beginning, and I said, you know what? This page is going to flip in a second.
It's gonna be fire.
And as soon as it does flip,
subscribe.
sign me the fuck up.
Bro.
Yo, that wasn't even a sound effect. You heard that.
You heard her type it in. That was her putting in her credit card
That's
number.
me signing up. That's me putting in the card number. As if it's not already auto save.
This is the email saying. That's the email saying that. Oh, now you're now confirmed.
Exactly,
Right.
bro.
No, but it's just, it takes a lot to say that this is what I want to do and this is what I want to do seriously.
I could never.
For myself.
I could never. I don't have the patience with myself.
But let's keep it. I'm gonna keep it 100 though. Like my situation, and for me, like particularly, like, and I think most people, you don't just walk into entrepreneurship. Like, you don't walk into just being in business for yourself.
Well,
right?
unless
like
you're Carly.
I got pushed out.
No.
Like, I got pushed out of my role. Like, I got downsized, and I was just like, all right, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it now. And then 8 months later, I'm like, shit, like I'm looking pretty good. I'm not in the norm of, like, I might, like
you took the jump on your own. You
Right.
kind of got pushed out the window. Like, nigga, you going to swim or what?
right.
You're welcome.
And I'm just like, all right, at first, and the thing is, like, and when you kind of look at it, like, I ain't gonna lie, I was down on myself for a couple of weeks because there's, like, this ego thing that says, like, I knew I could have balled out in that position and I could have killed it. But, like, y'all knew, like, I was being kind of eaten up inside, right? And it was just like, I played the game. I played the rat race in my 20s, and I was just like, yo, like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now.
So was it something about working a 9 to 5 that turned you off from it? Or was it just a passion that you had in you that said that you should be an entrepreneur?
Or did you find yourself, like, doing other shit and was like, I kind of like doing this more?
Okay, so I can literally walk you down the path. So
okay, what was the path?
Growing up, always wanted to, when you say, oh, what do you want to do when you grow up? I always said I wanted to be an inventor, right? But not understanding what I was really saying back then. And then after, when I was in undergrad going for my master's degree, basically I was saying to myself, like, oh, I didn't realize when I was younger, I kept saying I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be someone who made stuff and sold it to people to help them out. Right? It wasn't just like, because most people think inventor, they're thinking patents and science and stuff like that. It wasn't that. It was just like I wanted to make something to help people to make money, right? And basically, when I made a decision in grad school that said every single job that I have is about giving me the skills that I need in order for me to survive outside as an entrepreneur. So me working at a at a call center, like doing call center work, I know everybody probably like, damn, like everybody worked at the call center at one point in their life. Or,
yeah, I did.
Or
Not
you
me.
know somebody. Or you
Not
know
me.
somebody.
Not me.
Right? So it's usually retail or call center life. Right? In some form, shape, or fashion.
Sure.
Right? But basically, like I already kind of knew that I wanted to take positions in places so that I can learn the skills on somebody else's dime, so that when it was time for me to do my own shit, if like me becoming a project manager at a bank and understand how to do these certain things, when I knew I wanted to create an app, and I knew I was going to have to manage I was going to have to manage the project on my own, not necessarily building it on my own, but knowing like how to take care of resources and play chess with it and stuff like that. And literally coming down here to Winston at the role, it was a finance role. I realized I have to understand finance in order to run my own business. So that's why I made a decision. It was I need a finance role, and I started looking for it. And then a lot of times when you do things like that and the money's good, then the wool starts going over your eyes, and you start, I'll start working on my project next time. I'll do it tomorrow, and then it becomes tomorrow, and then next month, next year, all that stuff.
So you put it off until you didn't have a choice but to. I feel like you were working on it throughout the years, though.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think the story I always tell people is the way I look at it is when you're trying to learn how to swim, right? You go to the pool, right? You go to the pool.
Meezy, do you know how to swim?
No.
What?
No.
All right. Well, I'm one of the few blacks. It's like, nah.
No, I know how to swim.
I probably would have drowned. But I also wouldn't be an entrepreneur.
So that's. Do you know how to swim? I'm asking Jazz. She's behind the camera. Do you know how to swim? All right. So Meezy is the 25% in the room that doesn't know how to swim, which is, I feel like it's the polar opposite.
It's all right.
But basically, it feels
you
like
niggas is not finna shame me for that.
Nobody was shaming you.
I've been using.
No, the thing is, I mean, we'll get the kiddie pool.
2020 is nigga. What?
No, I'm just saying,
it starts making you think of when you find out somebody doesn't know how to swim, it makes you think of all the times that you were together in a setting where they may have needed to swim and what they did. Like I automatically started thinking back to pool parties 2017 when 2018
yes.
when we were all at the pool and
It's
I was
5
like,
foot, bro.
what was Meezy doing during this time?
on his tiptoes.
Yeah.
I'm don't play me, bro. I'm 5'11", 5'12" on a
Don't
good
play
day.
me, bro.
Yeah, nah.
That shit was up to your chin.
Yeah,
It's
no,
cool.
nah, I'm good.
I seen you climb on somebody's back in the pool. That's cool.
No,
Relax.
guys, learn how to swim so you can be an entrepreneur.
Nah. but basically, the reason I correlated to learn how to swim is that you do different things where you learn and you start swimming and you are standing in 3 feet. And then you standing in 4 feet, and then you start going to a place where you can, maybe you're jumping, and then you're tiptoeing, and you're still staying above water. And I was doing that by trying to hold my 9 to 5 and start my business at the same time, because that's what they kind of tell you to do, right? And basically, what wound up happening is that I got imagine you looking at the 8 feet, and then someone comes behind you and they push you into the pool. Right. And then you might be surprised. You might be struggling. You're like, holy shit. I'm confused. What's happening? And then you realize I knew how to float. I knew how to swim this whole time.
Right.
And then now that's where I'm kind of in that space.
Yeah, you got to try water.
Right.
Keep it afloat. Or you could swim back to shore. You got options. But I think it's better.
I ain't going back.
A shore can be a shore. It doesn't have to be the 9 to 5 shore. It could be the entrepreneurship island.
Going back.
But
what?
I ain't going back.
No, we ain't done.
Yet.
We ain't done yet.
I think we ain't done yet.
What you think about being an entrepreneur?
I think we ain't done yet.
There it is.
It's always, I don't know, but it's can you what is 9 to 5 esque though?
What do you mean?
It's security. That's all it is.
Technically, but what I'm saying is technically, if like we do this together, right?
Yeah.
Is TA the job, and we like clock in to come record and do the shit? Like,
yes.
Like,
That's what I keep trying to push to people. Is like, as an entrepreneur, like you are still an employee, and that's what COVID actually exposed, right? Is that when they had these different programs like the PPP, which is like payroll protection program and stuff like that, right? People like me couldn't get it because I'm not a W-2 employee of my company,
right?
Because they never tell you when you create a company, they say, oh, you're the owner, so you share in the proceeds and the losses of it. But if you're doing the shit right, you are paying the taxes on what you're making, right? Because the company's making $100,000 a year, and you're only going to take 30 or 50. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then now your money is separated, right? And the thing is, like, a lot of people, and especially like with COVID, like it really exposed a lot of the lack of knowledge that is being shared with us, and us meaning black people, like people of color, people who are marginalized, it really exposed that there are different things that that always existed that was just never shared.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't learn that in grad school. I didn't learn that in undergrad. Like, I learned that by watching that, when some people were making, some people were like getting the $1,200, and then some of the people were making the 1.7 million because or whatever, that whole loophole. There were people who were getting hundreds of thousands of dollars to help keep their business afloat because the person who owned it was on the books as an employee.
Damn.
Right? So like, and I always tell people, like, any project you have, like, you can't look at it as you're the business. It's not that. Like, the idea is the business, and you're just a person who's literally clocking in to come record.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because it feels like I might own a car wash, but you know what I'm saying? If somebody is like, hey, I need you to come wash my whole, like a car coming, like, come wash my whole fleet. Like, I now work for somebody. I'm a contract worker. It's still like
no. The thing is, yes, you're a contract worker, but like, that's still your client. But my thing is, like, I mean, just because you own the business, if something needed to happen, you gonna let it. You gonna let it. Nah, I don't do that because
right.
I'm the boss.
Right.
No, you gonna dive head first.
Yeah. I think that's the way to look at it. You are an employee, and I feel like you always tell yourself that you're clocking in when you're going to work. Because that's what we've been trained to, not even trained, but that's the way most of us grew up. Like, you said that you wanted to be an inventor and you didn't know what that meant when you were younger, but as you got older, you adapted to it. And I feel like I've said this before on the podcast, but when we were younger, growing up, there weren't really that many career options. Like, they always ask you what you want to be, or they had like these coloring sheets and they're like, do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to be a lawyer? What do you want to do? So when you grow up and you realize that there are all these other ways to make a living, it's kind of like, well, wow, I got options. So
in hindsight,
you always thought to get a real job.
Right, to get a real job.
I wanted to be Mike Larry.
Okay.
I just thought it was
you want
cool.
to be a detective? Or
I wanted to be like a narcotics cop because he got to shoot shit. He dropped a Porsche. You know what I'm saying? He was like cool as fuck. Like, while Martin was like this stay at home, he was like a dad. I was like, nah, bro, Mike Larry's the cool nigga at this group. But then as I got older and realized niggas be shooting at him, it's like, nah, that's
no. The thing is, I want to know when we're gonna have the conversation that Mike Larry was probably a dirty cop, because I don't know any cop that can own a Porsche or Aston Martin or any of it.
He had a trust fund. That was Martin's whole thing. Is like, you play cop because you have a trust fund.
No.
So that was his whole thing.
That trust fund was funded by not being done yet, doing that dirty shit.
I mean, he did go undercover and have a whole Mexican baby, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah. So we touched on the 9 to 5.
Points were made.
Yeah.
We talked on the 9 to 5 with the entrepreneurship conversation,
which is cool, bro. If you don't have the because we probably should have put that in there. Like, if you have a 9 to 5 and you don't have any what is it, need to wanna be an entrepreneur. Yeah, no aspiration. It's cool, bro. It's perfectly fine.
But I tell you one thing, you better do that job to the best of your damn ability.
Or you could just do it to the bare.
No, no, I guess my main thing is that yes, I don't think if you don't have a knack to want to like take the risk and do something on your own full time, I do think like even though that's not necessary, I do think it's necessary to diversify where your income is coming from,
your skill set,
right?
Too.
And yeah, in your skill sets too, right? Because the reason why you say you diversify where your income is coming from, like I know people who like, all right, you know, they might invest in real estate or they might do certain things, and that's what they're good at. And I might say, hey, look, like let's talk, and can I give you a couple of grand, and you basically promise this return. You know what I'm saying? Because now, like, especially as you know, as Black people, like right now, like we're in a place where we realize that we depend on others way too much, right? And the thing is, like, and we are at a place where you know we probably should just start depending on our own, the people who not necessarily on our own, like in terms of like our family, our friends, but people who understand our plights. You know what I'm saying? Because we understand that, you know, being in, you know, living in a bigger city or living in East Winston, that we know what truly is needed to be over there rather than someone who's just trying to come in, gentrify it, and do their thing.
Facts. And I also would like to say, I know last week there was another blackout for the 4th of July last week. And can I just say, bro, I understand the importance of the power of black dollar. But if you didn't like not go to work, you're just as much of the problem, bro. You made the white man money versus keeping your money from him.
What do you mean if you didn't go to work?
Fam, I feel like I saved my dollars by not going to Target, but I did go to work and help the white man make money.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like if you didn't go to work, saving your dollars didn't really do nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you still made another person.
Yeah, you made this white man money because you went to work. Black people don't own a company.
I mean, if most people, like, they should have had Friday off since 4th of July was on a Saturday this year.
Hey,
yeah, that's one thing I would say is don't let your job, just because it's Corona, tell you that you can't take off. Like, you're still working as hard as you would, if not harder, being at home. So take your days off. I'm sorry if I had to say that to somebody who didn't think about that. Like, just because you're working from home doesn't mean that you can't take a vacation. Because I'll take a vacation day right at home, even though I'm working from home. So the second part of the entrepreneurship conversation is about what does it mean to be self-made? Because there was a lot of chatter about Kylie Jenner calling herself self-made or being the youngest billionaire and getting that title. Is that a thing?
I mean, sure, but I feel like there's not many self-made stories where somebody didn't have a quote-unquote cosign.
A push.
Like, nah, like just even like there's no started from the bottom story at all of people that we can think of who, you know what I'm saying? Even like if you say Jay-Z, he did have a plug when he was selling drugs. Like somebody was getting him the drugs. So whatever he did with the money after that, completely on him. But there was somebody getting him something that he needed.
It was a Kickstarter.
Yeah, there's not too many stories unless you can find somebody who did something a very long time ago and did it that way. But it ain't really like somebody in that family had money or somebody knew somebody or did something.
So
somebody network.
I agree with you to an extent, right? Because it's like there was somebody who took the chance, right, and like extended themselves, right? So like I get that. So it's kind of like they had resources. It could be cash, it could be drugs, it could be whatever,
right?
You know what I mean? Like
an insurance plan or a settlement, like Master P,
right? But I mean, I feel like in my definition, because it's like, of course, it's gonna be whatever your definition is.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you did not have the resources and you were able to make it happen, yes, you are now. I would consider you self-made.
Okay.
But the idea that was it Kylie, right? The idea that she had no resources behind her to make the billion that she or the billions that she's had, I feel like it's basically false. You know what I mean? Like it's not the fact that it doesn't take away the fact that you have a billion now, right? But don't say you're self-made.
Bro, it's
because
like
because there were resources that you had that were at your disposal.
And even if it's not just money, like you had a
famous sister.
Yeah, you had a structured
sisters.
Well,
household. Your household enabled you to be able to do that. Like you had the resources there, even though it wasn't money. You had
right.
You had the moral support from your sisters. You had mentors, I'm sure, guiding you and telling you this is how you do it. This is what you should do, and just passing those secrets along. So when I think about self-made, like you said, Meezy, is somebody who didn't really have those resources available and they made a way out of no way.
Right.
I won't say that I shame anybody who does have the resources, because I feel like we tend to glorify people more if they're able to make something from scratch as opposed to having the help from their parents. There's nothing wrong with getting help from your parents, especially if it's available.
Any help from anybody.
But don't make it seem like it's comparable, if that makes sense.
It's two different things,
because like I feel like it's a difference when you had a small loan of $1 million, right?
A small loan,
right? You had something like
anybody want to pass out that small loan? Cash App is Easy Boulevard.
Fuck that. I need that straight. I need that. What is it?
Wire.
Yeah, I need that wire.
The ACH.
Yeah, straight to my bank account.
Because Cash App was going to ask you to send a copy, a photo of your ID.
Nah,
it's cool, bro. I'll wait the 2 days so it ain't no little
Cash
fee
App
on
want
it.
they thing off the top.
I'll wait the 2 days so I don't need instant. I'll wait the 2 days.
But the thing is, I feel like with the whole self-made thing, I feel like it's different when like your business or something like that has made it to a certain level, right? But when you start saying self-made, you're taking away the shine of what your business did, and you're saying now you as a person are the reason why this even happened.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So like there are people who are like to me, like I feel like, like you just had like you would say like different artists. Like if you were saying, hey, like I spent my own money, say like a Wiz, right, or something like, or Mac Miller, like back in the day, like hey, I made my own money, did what I recycled my own stuff, took my own risks to get to this point, to keep flipping it so I can get to this point. You know what I'm saying? And like that is self-made, where you're just like you're completely using your own stuff. And I guess in that notice, like you might say, hey, Kylie did use her own money, but again, there's a sense of like resources that doesn't have to be cash that you had access to that others would not.
I really think that's where the issue be lying at, though. I think a lot of times we be afraid to give that leg up. I feel like a lot of times is I won't help Rez because I don't want Rez to do better than me. And I feel like that's a mind state for a lot of people.
I don't think it's that. I think it's more of like I won't help Rez because there's nothing in it for me.
That too. Oh, that too. But even though, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's a lot of times where you see shit like, like somebody could have done something to help somebody. Because I feel like, because I've been thinking about this lately because, with the Benny the Butcher thing, it's like, bro, all it ever takes is one person who has a bunch of subscribers, like to them, to shed the light on somebody else.
What happened with Benny the Butcher?
So, Banks submitted a song to one of Benny the Butcher's Pyramid.
Banks is one of Meezy's artists.
I am an entrepreneur. I don't know what that shit mean.
This is the time to say it.
Nah, bro. I just helped one of my friends do music, and he submitted a song to one of Benny the Butcher's Pyramid Schemes. And it's basically a scheme, but I don't hold that against Benny, because if I was Benny, I would do the same thing.
I mean, if you think about it, people do it all the time.
It's
when they tell
much.
you to pay to play, like you see it every day on your Instagram. I see some influencers saying, I got ad space, send me $50 and I'll put you on my platform.
Fam, I am not spending, I don't care what your discount is to be an influencer for your company. I'm not buying shit at 50% off just to market your shit. I'm okay. I was doing fine before you sent that weird ass email.
So basically,
but Benny the Butcher heard the music actually.
So Banks
took the time to hear it, right? And
we knew that. We found out that he listened to it
after the fact. He gave Banks a shout out. So it's like, bro, all it took is somebody's platform, and then like Banks's like Instagram numbers started going through the roof, like daily watches and shit like that. And so I'm like sitting here thinking, like, bro, if that's all it take is like for one person everybody subscribes to be like, oh,
I co-sign this.
This is hard. I like this, and then tell somebody, shit.
Well, the thing is, I don't necessarily think it's all it takes. I think it's like the preparation, right? So, you know, at least from like a content standpoint, right? So, like, if you basically, we can say we went TA, right? We went to Mouse Jones' podcast in New York, episode like 18 or something like that, right? Around that time. Basically, the fact that we did it and then there was stuff for other people to go to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Something that happened after the fact, like, that's like the bigger thing. It's like, hey, if I give you this, what are you going to do with it? Right? Is there more things for people to like, other albums or other songs that people can listen to because they like this one that is basically catching fire right now?
Facts.
Right? So I think it's just people a lot of people who catch that lick and, you know, basically catch the attention, and then they have nothing to show for it afterwards because they didn't have anything else ready. You know what I mean?
Well, but I think that's because a lot of times that shit is unexpected. Because you know, another name drop I can do. I was on my way to bed one day and just was on a timeline, and and I saw Maul from the Joe Budden podcast tweeting, and I just sent him one of the videos that we had. Like that was just like a. Oh, I even makes me mad in hindsight because all it said was, "What do you think about this?" And I just sent it to him, and he replied. And I have never, like, my phone did not stop for like 3 days behind that. But then I was sitting there thinking, like, bro, we've got all of this in order, everything is there, but what do I do with it now? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I do with this moment? And so I think a lot of times people capitalize off their moments. And that's why I think they say, hey, I was self-made because I had already had this prep. I had everything in order. And when you look at it, it looks like it was me. Even though my aunt might have had $1 million to just give me to spend.
I think it's safe to say that social media is a resource too.
Oh, yeah.
It helps a lot of people, and I think it's a lot more spotlight on getting that type of help, especially when something goes viral, because there's a lot of eyes on that. They see you go viral, and then they see the stuff that comes after it. So it's a spotlight on that makes it look like it's easy, but there is work that goes behind it. Like Eric said, you have to be ready to catch whatever overflow you get to your page at that moment. So it's just all about knowing what your resources is, being willing to put in the work and using them. So my whole thing is self-made is subjective, but there should be no shame in using your resources to get where you want. I think the problem comes when you talk about what the definition of self-made is, because she can feel like she is self-made because in her head, she did all of that stuff. If she went to her parents and said, yo, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? It wouldn't have happened. So in her mind, that can be self-made. But I think specifically in our community, we have to be willing to help each other, be willing to go and ask, like, how did you get here? And also be willing to learn. A lot of us have this pride behind us where we feel like, oh, if I didn't struggle to get it, I shouldn't have it. And that's not necessarily it. It's not about the struggle. It's just about working towards it. So that's my thoughts on that.
Some fire shit out here, though, bro.
It is. But let's go on ahead and take a break and come back with our final thoughts. So, is there anything else out on the table about the entrepreneurship conversation that you guys want to touch on before we get out of here?
I know a lot of niggas be using buzzwords to make you feel like you ain't shit, but you don't have to do that. Like, I know the biggest thing, thanks to Hove, is generational wealth. Like, bro, I understand that is what we're all trying to do and all of this, but like, if it don't happen, you're not a failure, bro. Because, like me and my dad were having a conversation one time, and it was like, the reason there's not a lot of black-owned businesses as much as it used to be is because the kids didn't want to do it. Like, bro, if I owned a grocery store and now you sent me to college and I come back, I don't want to run this grocery store. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know I spent my entire childhood living here and working at this grocery store, but I went to college and I expanded my view on life. I don't want to run this grocery store.
Right.
I have other goals for myself.
Yeah, but I just feel like, but if you look at this, the numbers, right? Yes, I think that's a part of it, but then there's other stuff, right? There's other stuff like not being able to scale, right? Not being able to have access to like certain accounts that will make it a little bit cheaper, so that it's a little bit more affordable for the people that you're looking for, right? You got the Walmarts and stuff like that might pop up, and it's like, yo, we can get you stuff at rock bottom prices, but you would rather drive 10 miles to get that cheaper rather than walking across the street for the place that that is selling it, that might be a little bit more expensive.
It's a lot of factors that go into this, and I like, don't get me wrong, I don't blame him. Like, I do not blame him. I'm all for protecting yourself, protecting your peace, and doing what makes you happy. So, like, that fucking, what's the movie on fucking Netflix, Cork shit, where the guy he wants to be the wine guy, and his family is like pushing him to run that barbecue thing. It's like, bro, like, I was doing this for me, but in the end, spoiler alert, it like helped his family because he also knew what it took to like add value to their business.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, you just gotta figure out what it is that you want to do. Yeah. Lawrence sat on the couch.
I mean that I feel like that kind of looked into a whole nother dynamic when it comes to that, right? But the funny thing is like, that's even the privilege of that happening. Like, that's how far behind we are, right?
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, it's unfortunate that we all don't have that chance, right?
X.
Because not everyone. I'm not saying that everyone wants to be an entrepreneur or needs to be an entrepreneur, right? Or but we just, like, if we just look at the cards, how we've been dealt, we just don't have the opportunities in order to be able to create something I can pass down. You know what I'm saying? So, like, because like there's just so many obstacles or so many things that come into play, like you said earlier, that really just helps us understand like where we're really at.
Yeah, and it's cool, bro. You're all right.
And I agree. Like, you don't need to harp on yourself where you're not creating generational wealth, but as long as you are, making a noble effort to help, like, I feel like you should be okay with that.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely think generational wealth is always a goal. We want to get there in some generation of our life. It may not be this one, but as long as you're taking the steps to get there, that's all that matters. Like,
oh no, I might have to Queen Latifah this.
What?
Queen Latifah got the bag in that movie.
Oh,
She's like, fuck this, I'm about to blow it before I die. Let's get it.
Right. But just like us taking the steps, doing the things that we're doing now, we are working towards ourselves. We're making ourselves better. That way, when we are parents, we can raise people who hopefully have the potential to create generational wealth down the line. It may not happen this generation, maybe next generation, but my thing is just to keep working towards something.
Right.
But
because we're at a disadvantage.
But
if the bag does come,
fuck them kids.
That part. Speaking of kids,
whoa,
Baby Maker.
Whoa.
You are now tuned in.
Transition that firely. I was lost. You are now tuned in to WMEZ. This week we have Autumn Rainwater, and this is called Nthng or Something here on WMEZ.
Textually active.
All right, so pull your memes out. I am going to go first. My meme is, I hate when people walk in my house and don't speak to my plants. Say hi to Spidey, the spider plant.
No. I live there and I don't do that. I'm like, fuck them plants.
No, say hi to them.
Plants, animals, and kids. Fuck them.
Oh my God. What is that your meme?
No, but that's good. That's fine. That would have been fine. That came from the heart.
You want me to go?
You want to go?
Yeah, I can go.
Oh.
All right, and we're here. I want to welcome you guys to this episode of Textually Active, and we're here at Sunday Night Football. And, we're just going to really recap everything that's happening in halftime. And basically, we're at this game, and essentially, It is Earth 0, 2020, 42. Back to you guys, Bob.
Yo, word.
That's funny. That's funny. My meme for the week says COVID spelled backwards is DIVOC, as where the fuck is my liquor refill? Which you can add, so fill in the black in the back. The fuck is my stimmy?
The second stimmy.
The fuck is my stimmy is mad funny.
The fuck is we getting off this shit so we can go back outside, bro.
Nah, it looks like it's been the grand opening and the grand closing.
Facts,
because
bro.
they shut this bitch right back down.
Bro, it's so mad. You know we really about to miss the summer, bro.
Who?
We about to
Speak
miss
for
this.
yourself. I'm out here.
Nigga go to Vegas one time, now she out here. Nigga, I ain't trying to miss this summer, bro. I don't know what it's gonna be like the first time I have a mimosa.
No, for
With
real.
no orange
or
juice.
a brunch with no mask on, or being around all your friends the fuck again. Like, what the hell? These sneaky links, they're not cutting it. But anyhow, as always, thank
You ain't
guys.
doing it right.
What, I'm supposed to go to Atlanta and hit the club up?
See?
Anyway, thank you guys for listening to another episode of Textually Active. We drop new episodes every Tuesday at 6 a.m., so make sure you come back next Tuesday. In the meantime, in between time, follow us on our social media pages. We're on Instagram at Textually Active Pod. We're on Twitter at Textually Act Pod, and we're on Facebook at Textually Active Pod. You can also find our beautiful faces on YouTube, so make sure you guys check that out. Like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends and all of the people, and we'll see you guys next week.
I know we kind of spit through it, but hey, be your best you, bro, at your 9 to 5 or in your entrepreneurial endeavors.
And that's that on that.
Actually, I'm probably, I want to try to go on TA's Instagram this week. I want to talk to the people. If you want to talk about some generational wealth thing, you want to talk about some entrepreneurship stuff, or how to steps you could take to get out of there, holla at me.
And stop stealing niggas' ideas, bro.
Yo, for real.
Wait, what?
Stealing niggas' ideas.
On
me?
Pinterest.
Everybody, like, nigga, you're not an entrepreneur just because you put what would God do on the mask.
Yep.
God. Oh, you're one of those. Okay.
Copy.
Got it.
See you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to the Textually Active podcast. This podcast is a full-service production from the Open Media Lab. Be sure to check in every Textual Tuesday along with following them on all social media at Textually Active Pod. Textually Active is a part of the Open Media Network.